Well, you made it back. Curious, foolish, doesn't matter, you'll fit right in. Tonight's story takes us to paradise. Šolta Island off Croatia's coast. Beaches so pretty they look fake. Honey sweet enough to ruin your teeth, and sunsets that whisper. Relax, nothing bad ever happens here. But paradise is a liar, and under that glittering water waits a cave. A cave that kills almost everyone who dares to enter, and by sunrise, 2 men would never come back. Šolta looks harmless. Tiny island, just 19 by 5. Small enough to feel safe, big enough to bury something nasty. Tourists come for honey, the wine, the olive groves, those perfect pebble beaches. A place built for postcards. But hidden in those waters, a cave that eats tourists like snacks. On September 10th, 2002, 31-year-old Miroslav Kuklas was on holiday with friends, and instead of ordering another glass of wine, someone suggested scuba diving. At night. See, this is why I love you humans. You keep testing your worst ideas like it's a hobby. Most divers around Šolta stick to the safe spots. Shallow water, easy to see, nothing too risky. Safe, colorful, friendly. Miroslav's group, they wanted the cave. The infamous death trap in Poganica Bay. Divers whispered about it, experts avoided it. But Miroslav and his buddies thought, how bad could it be? They convinced a boat driver to take them out. 10 meters down, they found it. A narrow hole in the sea floor, the only entrance. You had to squeeze in head first into a dark hole. Classic. Nature says don't. And humans say, hold my beer. Once you squeeze through that narrow entrance, you drop into a small chamber, the junction. From here, there are 3 ways to go. One tunnel leads back out to the sea, but the other 2 drag you deeper. The shallow gallery, 36 meters down. Or the deep gallery, almost 60. The danger starts when you head into the shallow gallery. The moment you leave the entrance behind, the light dies. You're blind. Every small movement stirs up sand until the water becomes a choking cloud. Your flashlight. Useless, just a weak glow bouncing off mud. At that point, the cave isn't killing you. Your own confidence is. Quick question, mortals. What's scarier to you, the choking mud, or the thought of getting lost down there? Tell me in the comments. Here's the cruel trick. The exit looks almost identical to the entrances of the galleries. In the dark, there's no difference. So when you're low on air, instead of escaping, you swim deeper. That's where Miroslav went wrong. He went into the deep gallery first, touched bottom, and turned back up. He mistook the shallow gallery for the exit. He swam in, stirred up sand, panicked, backtracked, and blundered straight back into the deep gallery. 3 doors, 1 way out, and of course you creatures picked door number death. Now imagine it. You're 50 meters down, pitch black, oxygen running out. You can't see your hand in front of your face, and the only sound is your own bubbles growing louder, faster, desperate. Would you stay calm? Or would you lose it? Yeah, I know the answer. Miroslav clawed his way up through the dark until he found the ceiling of the deep gallery. And there it was, a thin pocket of air. Relief, sweet oxygen. But it was nothing more than a death trap in disguise. Barely enough to breathe, just enough to realize he was trapped. His lungs burned, his body begged him to surface, but he knew the truth. He'd never make it back, not from this depth, not without air. For a few moments, maybe he clung to hope. Maybe he thought his friends would realize something was wrong and come looking. Maybe he believed he could find the exit if he just calmed down, felt around, tried again. But every second his breath grew shorter, the darkness pressed tighter. the cave wasn't just surrounding him, it was swallowing him whole. And that's when he made a decision. Miroslav pulled out his dive knife. In that final moment, he chose control over panic. He plunged the blade into his own chest. The autopsy confirmed it. He hadn't drowned. He chose his own ending. Imagine being so trapped that a knife feels like mercy. Back on the surface, his friends were still waiting in the boat. At first, maybe they joked about him taking his time. After all, he was the adventurous one, right? But minutes became an hour. The water stayed calm. No bubbles, no sign of Miroslav. Eventually, fear pushed through denial, and they called the police. 2 divers were sent down, trained and experienced. One of them was 25-year-old Oliver Maric, brave, skilled, confident. And yet, confidence doesn't change the rules of the cave. Oliver descended into the same deadly maze. He searched, sweeping his light across the stone, hoping for a glimpse of Miroslav. But just like before, the sand rose, the darkness thickened, and the tunnels blurred together. At the junction, Oliver made the exact same mistake. Wrong gallery, wrong direction, disoriented, oxygen slipping away. He tried to correct himself back and forth, shallow to deep, but each turn only buried him further. Panic sets in fast when you realize you can't tell up from down. He must have felt his chest tightening, his vision shrinking, his mind screaming at him to breathe where there was no air. And still he pushed on. That's the cruel irony of humans. You fight hardest at the very moment you've already lost. Oliver fought, but eventually the fight went silent. Another body claimed by the cave. It took 3 days for recovery teams to pull them out. 3 days of risk, of divers going where they shouldn't have to go, just to bring back the dead. Imagine the weight of that job, knowing you could join them at any second. And even now, all these years later, the warnings remain. Don't go in the cave. Don't risk it unless you're trained, equipped, and ready for death. But every year, new divers ignore the signs. They laugh, they brag, they think, not me. I'll be fine. And every year the cave proves them wrong. So my reckless little heartbeat havers, what about you? Would you dive into a pitch-black cave where most who enter never return? Don't answer too quickly. I've seen how you practice your bad ideas. And believe me, you're not as different as you think. So if you enjoyed this little holiday nightmare, stick around. There's always another story, another mistake, another human proving my point. Until next time, sleep tight. And keep your worst ideas on land where at least we can laugh at them. I'd hate to see you joining my side of the graveyard so soon.